Hello and welcome to this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me, where we focus less on the dis and more on the ability of what we can do. Join us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. Looking forward to seeing you there.
Hello, everybody. Hello. It is Wednesday, and can you believe it's October already? Goodness gracious, where has the time gone? It is ID to the J with a roll away, and welcome to episode 68 of My CP Does Not Define Me. And I have been waiting on this one for a while because for all the stars to align, and all the planets, yeah, there's my CP yet again, all the planets to be in order for this to work out. I am so happy to have this young lady on my show. She's been on there once before, and let me tell you, with her and Brian, it was an action-packed home run derby that didn't stop. And to be here with Miss Tori Menninger, I got to tell you, she is a fantastic writer, mom, friend. She's been a youth group leader, a cell group leader, but she'll get into all that. So I'd like to welcome Miss Tori Menninger. Miss Tori, how are you? Thank you for being here today.
I am good, DJ. It is awesome to be here. I'm so glad just for this and this conversation. So yeah, thanks for having me back.
I love this, and the fact that we get an action-packed hour, I cannot believe it. Hey, Nikki, how are you? Hey, Cindy, welcome to My CP Does Not Define Me. Thank you guys for coming in. Now, let me let you guys know, I know you're going to be asking a lot of questions ahead of time, and I'm going to get to them as quickly as I can, but I want to focus on getting as much information out here on this because this young lady's got a story and a half. So what I'm going to have Miss Tori do, if you don't mind, would you just tell our viewers who have never seen you before, who don't know you as well as I do, just a little bit about yourself and what you do and who you are and where you come from and that kind of thing.
Sure. Fill you in all the details. Well, DJ, like you said, we've actually known each other for a good long time. I don't know, 20 some years, maybe something like that.
28. Well, gosh, it's been probably 2022. More like 22.
Something like that, but a long time. So anyway, so you have seen my family grow. So of course, I'm married to my husband, Brian. We've been married 25 years now, and we have 4 daughters. We are just now empty nesters. Our last left for college this fall. So there's a huge thing. 2 got married. It's been crazy summer. So now we have 2 son-in-laws as well. So the family is growing. Other than with family, I also am CEO and founder of Bear Creek Outdoor Living, which is a construction company of all things, a residential construction company. So I run that with Brian, and we have a staff about 40 or so. I guess we're about near there. And actually getting ready to kick off a new company, a garden company as well, Bear Roots, which is part of that. So anyway, so lots of busy things going on. But yeah, so I'm just a leader in this space. DJ, like you said, also a writer, love writing, and obviously you can see because we'll be talking about that today, about that book. But that's a little bit about me in a nutshell.
So let's touch base just a little bit to kind of recap. Talk a little bit about Bear Creek and kind of what that's done. I know Brian was here last time, but I'm pretty sure you can fill in for him. I'm sure he won't mind. Can you give us just an update on? You were talking about the gardening that's getting ready to launch there with Bear Creek 2. Can you fill us in a little bit on that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, we run a residential construction company and really what we call an outdoor living company, where we build decks and patios and pergolas, that kind of thing for people. And as part of that, there's always a planting piece of that that has always kind of been on the side. But one of the things that I love to do is garden and sustainable agriculture. And last summer, I started teaching people how to garden, right? And so that started taking off. And so decided to add bare root gardens to what we do now. And so here at the facility that we have for our company, there's about, I guess, 1/4 acre, maybe half an acre of just empty lot that I'm going to get ready to turn into urban gardens. So we're getting ready to move dirt and all of that. So this next spring, it'll be a teaching and showcase garden where literally people can come and take classes about how to garden and how to raise their own food and all that.
That is
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear move dirt, it makes me feel like a man. I'm going to get in there and get dirty. I'm going to get in there and get my hands in the dirt, move
Yeah.
soul around.
Yeah.
I love how things grow, because growth is a part of life on every facet. You have your plants, your minerals, your gardens, your food, yourselves, your children. For you to say the last one has left the nest, I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm like, no, I've known them.
Oh, don't worry. They come back. So it's not really an empty nest. It's like open nest. They leave, they come back, they leave, and then they bring friends.
Right.
Great.
And your refrigerator is still never full.
They freak out. They're like, "Where's all your food?" I'm like, "You left." So yeah, restock it. So it's never empty. But you're right. It's always about growing in life, isn't it?
So this, I mean, to hear all of this, congratulations on everything. You guys are so awesome, and what Bear Creek is doing. And again, if you haven't seen the episode, go back and watch it on my Facebook. We are on Facebook Live and the Disability Global broadcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. As I said, I know we're going to have a lot of questions today, and we will do our best to answer them. Hey, JP, welcome. Thank you for coming in. So let's get right down to it. Now, you wrote a book, and I've got to tell you, this book is phenomenal. Daring to Fight. And I honestly have to say, I've never read a book like this in my life. The way it was written, I've read lots of books, and what I don't like is the monotone. This is how we're going to handle this today. We're going to take step one. Yours is not like that. Yours is more of an outline of how to fight and what kind of fight it's going to be, because depression, people look at depression and think of it as this big thing, which it is, but it doesn't start out that way. Very rarely does it start out as this large, overwhelming, too big to carry. A lot of people deny it and say, "Oh, I can just, it's nothing. It's no big deal." Is that a common analogy of depression? I mean, was it for you when you went through it at first?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. The thing about depression is it's complex. It's not just a simple thing. It's not just, you can't cookie cutter it for every person. It's different for every single person that walks the face of this earth, because we're all unique individuals. So we all experience that a little bit differently. For me, it actually took me 2 years to realize that I was dealing with depression. And I was one who should have recognized it, because I have a degree in psychology, and I study this stuff all the time because I love the study of human nature and things. And it took me 2 years to even go, "Oh, that's what that is." And to admit it to myself. And I think that you hit on that a little bit, is just that admitting of, okay, maybe there's something deeper going on. And it doesn't always look the same, like I said, with everybody. And so sometimes it is a little hard to pinpoint, or we think, "Oh, it'll pass. It'll be okay. I'll get over it, whatever." Or we have people in our life telling us that. And so it can be, it's not an easy fix thing at all. It's definitely a complex issue.
Sure. So let's get into kind of, you talked about it a little bit. Let's get into the people part of it.
Yeah.
And the first question I want to ask is, how many people, when you said, and this is going to be an open conversation, guys, so you're going to get a lot about what we're doing and what we're going through here. You said it took you 2 years to realize it. Now, you have a degree in psychology, so let's understand the magnitude of this thing. Depression can hit anybody. Depression can hit men, women, children, old people, young people, animals. It happens. And it's not, it is common. I think there are different types of depression. I think you have to kind of look at depression like disabilities. You can't, as Miss Tori said, you can't cookie cut it. You can't say, "This is the outline that we're going to use for this case," because each case is different. I just want to kind of go through that. So let me ask you then, what caused you, or what made you want to write one of the greatest books I've ever read, Daring to Fight? What caused you to write that? What was the point where you said, "You know what, I got to write this down"?
Yeah, I can't say that was like an automatic aha moment. I didn't set out to write a book. I know it sounds crazy, but where I was at, and a lot of times for me, I don't usually start a project of any kind until I see like there's a need for some reason. So I was actually in the midst of leading depression support groups at our church. And I was looking for curriculum to lead that group for. You know, it was like an 8-week program that I was leading people through. And so I was finding a lot of stuff on the clinical side, which is important. You need that, right? You need to understand it from that side point, stage of things. But it was also that I found a lot of stuff that was the spiritual side of things, the faith-based, which, being a believer, a Christian, I wanted that faith-based piece as well, which is great. But there was nothing in the middle that combined the two that said, okay, that was just easy to understand. And so I was teaching class and I was sharing my story and bringing pieces of it together. And finally someone said, would you please just write that down? I just need you to write that story down. I need you to write what you did down. Just write it down. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, oh, I'll write a curriculum. So I started writing up a curriculum, and I realized there was no way I could condense everything, my own story, kind of the things that I did to walk through that really difficult season of depression that I went through, into a curriculum. And so that's where the book kind of came about. And I had some connections with some writing friends that kind of helped me get started and know what to do. And then as it developed, I'm like, I wanted to write it from a perspective of, I wanted to share my story, but just enough that then invited the reader to find their own story in it. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my story. It is about that person reading that book that needs the hope to know that there is a way to battle through, and that there's hope on the other side, and that they're not alone. We want to know that we're not alone in this, because we feel very alone in the midst of depression.
And I think again, the common thread, and you've said this, what you posted on my Facebook today, which I shared, people battling depression, you are not alone. And right here on the Disability Global broadcast and on Facebook Live, when I do these shows, I love how you said, it's not about my story. It's about the person reading it, realizing that what they need and what they're going to get out of this. Now, I want to ask you a very important question. And being that you have a degree in psychology, I'm going to go this little bitty route. I want to talk about the difference between hope and faith, because I believe that there is a huge difference between hope and faith, because I believe, and I could be wrong. I'm a man. I'm not ashamed to say. Therefore, DJ may be wrong at this moment, but I'm going to throw this out there. I believe that hope kind of is like a weed, because you continue to hope for something. And I hope I get this job. I hope I get this car. I hope this surgery goes okay. I hope. But faith is more, it's there. I'm going to put everything into it. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to believe that it's going to happen. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel with hope, Ms. Story?
I think that there is. So I like how you put it. Yes, I think there's a difference between faith and hope. For me, and I'll just share where it lands for me. So I should say hope is that knowledge, that desire that, I'm going to keep moving forward in hopes that I'll continue to feel better, that I'll figure out this next step, that these things will come together. Faith for me is knowing and believing that there is something greater than me that is holding me up, that is caring for me, that is loving me, right? And so at the end of the day, even if hope disappears, that my faith in God is even greater than the hope that I can, because there is a point where I can't stir up enough hope in the humanly, right? And so I have to lean into my faith, even when hope feels dim. But because I have faith, therefore I have hope. So that to me, they're tied together.
You see, and the reason I brought this up, Jim Carrey did his cum laude speech, and he said, and I quote, hope is a beggar. Hope is a beggar of things that you hope are going to happen. Where faith, you put everything that you are and everything that you have into the knowledge of knowing. There's a difference. You're not hoping for something. I guess some people can say you kind of are in a way, but I see the difference, and I see the smile on your face when you say the word faith, because of where that has gotten you in your life. Like I said, I've known this young lady for a long time. It blows me away in talking about the battle of depression and what they're really going through and where they are, that endless stream of darkness that they continue to wade through, and they're swimming in that, to keep it clean, crap and that stuff and that emotion of, I've been dealing with this so long, to where all of a sudden it started out right here, and then all of a sudden it blows up into this big thing, and it surrounds them, and it takes them over to where they cannot physically function. And that's the scary part for me. I've been depressed before, to where I had to go on medication, to where I had to see a counselor. And that's, seeing a counselor is part of it. I think that's a big part of it. So many people are afraid. I ain't telling no shrink my stuff. I don't want him or her to know. I think that is finding somebody to talk to trust, to relate to get in there and really dig into the problem is, along with acknowledgement of the problem, the first step in the issue.
Yeah. Well, and to go back to your hope and faith thing a little bit, and then talk a little bit about what you were just saying. So, is it, for me, there's hope and desperation. So there's a desperate hope, and then there's a hope that trusts. And for me, I want the hope that trusts that the one that I believe in, that I hope in, my hope is in, which is Christ, that's what carries me through, not this desperate hope where I just hope it all gets better.
Right.
And stuff. And then even when it comes to, and so many times we can throw out faith and say, well, just have more faith. And I've heard it. Lots of people I've talked with and sat with have heard it from other people. And we'll just have more faith, whatever, and you'll be fine. But it's not always, it's depression is not about whether you have enough faith or not. It is something that you're experiencing in the moment and what is happening. Depression can happen because of loss. It can happen for a lot of different reasons. And it's not just here's one answer, just do this and it'll get better. It is, for me, and you'll find this in the book, it is a holistic response. It is I was on medication. I went to my doctor. I saw a counselor. I still see a counselor just to know that I'm staying healthy.
Right.
It was about getting out and being physically active, down to what I ate, what I was allowing to put in my mind, the things I was watching. It was attacking it from all angles. It wasn't just one line of attack. Right,
because you can't go in there and barrel through. I remember you talking about the getting up off of your couch.
Yeah.
That was the first. I got to go for a walk. What's the first piece? So kind of to go back a little bit. You said before that it took you 2 years to realize that it was depression, even with a degree in psychology. How did it get so long, do you think? Was it denial?
Well, I think maybe part of that. It was also much part of my personality. So I am a helper by nature. I love helping people. It's why I'm in the business that I'm in. So we might I have a construction company, but our heart is to see people grow and develop their skill and all of that. So I'm a helper by nature. And so I was constantly helping people. My family, at the time, Brian was pastoring a church. And so I was a pastor's wife. And so all of the things that go with that, I was a young mom. And so I had all these things that I was juggling, and I was getting overloaded and would not say no. And so I came to a breaking point of realizing I couldn't do that, any longer. And so part of that was, I think, my nature. Part of it was also denial of going, that can't be it. I'm sure if I just do this or do that, or I'm going to go take a vacation, it'll be fine. But it never got fine. It became overwhelming. And so it came to the point, because what I was later diagnosed was severe clinical depression and PTSD. Some symptoms of PTSD, not at the full blown scale as some people, experience that, and that was again, a result of doing too much for too long without enough break.
Yeah. I remember you talked about, with Brian, when you called Brian on our last episode, and you said you were painting the house.
Yeah.
You came to, and here's the thing. There was something that Miss Menninger said. I did not say no. Guys, ladies, gentlemen, people of Earth, understand it is okay to say no. And often it is healthy for yourself to say no. Now, I don't have a degree in psychology. I'm quite psychotic. and psychotic, actually. Not really. Yes, you are. Okay. But I just know. I people with me, and I can remember when I had friends for the first time. I feel like I'm two. I have a friend. It just they wanted to do everything. And my best friend Max, we had a huge falling out and came back in reconciliation later to realize, man, all you had to do was tell me no.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. He goes, for me, it was because I was immature in my own self. I had to figure
We don't
out.
want to disappoint people and stuff. But the reality is that when you say yes to everything, you're actually saying no to something. You're saying no to time with family. You're saying no to time with your kids. You're saying no to taking care of yourself. You're saying no to something every time you say yes. And so you have to learn to manage the yeses in your life so that, and I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn to manage the yeses in my life so that what I was saying yes to were the things that were important, most important, and that it was okay to say no. But, I'm also a recovering people pleaser. So there's that, so, when we're recovering people pleasers, it's hard to say no because we want everybody to be okay and love us and take care of everyone. And it's not possible.
So, okay. Last question on the 2-year part. In the 2 years where it was happening, did Brian go, hello? Like you're getting overwhelmed. Did he see before you did, and did he try to fix it?
No, I mean, he didn't. He didn't actually. So the thing was, and you'll read it in the book, is that, we had ongoing conversation for like the last year of that, of how tired I was getting and overwhelmed I was feeling. But see, at the time he was a bivocational pastor. So he was working almost 50 hours on a regular job and then pastoring on top of that. And so he was just so busy trying to take care of everybody and everything else that he just couldn't hear me. And I don't know that I was expressing to him just, exactly, I really need to drop some things or whatever. It wasn't until I made a phone call. And again, DJ, you referenced that story about me painting a house. It was that moment that I realized I had to drop everything else. I may not be alive the next year. And that phone call I made to my husband, made to Brian, was that point of waking him up, of going, something is not right and is not okay. And when in that moment, I told him, if you need to walk away from our marriage, because I felt like a huge failure, right? Because I needed to drop all this stuff because I wasn't thriving and doing well. And I realized what was going on. And I gave him the choice to walk, because in my head, I figured I was such a failure that he would want to walk away. And he chose not to. He chose to stay. And in that moment of choosing to stay, he also realized my wife is not doing well.
When you realized that he was not going to leave, and this is the hard part. I because I'm very much, I always have been. I don't know why. Everything's going to be okay. Where we've got point A, point B, point C. When I can't fix it, it kills me, because I'm like, there's nothing I can do. And you go to that moment. What was it like for you to know that he was in your corner, that he wasn't going to leave? How did he relay that to you, if I may ask?
Yeah, I mean,
when you gave him that ultimatum or that choice.
Yeah, he came home, like literally he came home. He left the job site where he was at and he drove home in the middle of the day. One, to make sure I was okay and all of that. And over the thing is about, while I eventually took some new steps, the next steps to get healthy and better and all those things, I laid on that couch for 3 months, like could not function, could not move. Just, I was not able to take care of our kids or the house or really anything. And the way he showed he cared is he simply took over and took care of those things, which overloaded him now that I look at it. But he didn't demand anything of me. He didn't demand that I would just get to a doctor, that I just get over it already or anything like that. He simply cared for me. And that spoke volumes, because the reality was he couldn't fix it and he knew it. It frustrated him, but he knew that there was nothing in him that could fix this for me. That that he simply needed to be present. And that's often the time, if you're walking with someone who's going through depression, our human nature either wants to fix it or run away. We want to fix it and take care of them, or we don't know what to do, so we give them space and we back off. What they need is the presence of somebody that just loves them and is healthy in their space without trying to fix it, and allows them to process. And that's what he did. He allowed me to slowly process and get to the point where I was ready to tackle this, because nobody could fight this for me. I mean, you read it in the book. I'm very upfront about that. Nobody can fight this battle for you. As much as they would like to, as much as we want to find somebody else to blame or whatever. And yeah, we have to do the work ourselves. And so by giving me space to do that was how he, I think, showed his love the best.
Could you say that again for our viewers just coming on about what a person needs with depression is someone to be healthy within their space? Can you touch on that just a little bit more?
Yeah. And I'll use kind of an example. So I had a friend who came to me and she's like, she had a friend who was really struggling through depression and stuff. And she's like, should I just back off and give her space and let her, find her space and heal and all that? And I said, oh, no. What she needs is the presence of a healthy person. She needs the presence of a friend. Now, presence does not mean having to fix it or have the right words or the right Bible verse or anything like that. Sometimes presence simply means being there, even as they're, just sitting there or crying or whatever that they need. It doesn't mean that we can't offer words of encouragement or whatever that looks like, but often they simply need to know that they're not alone.
Miss Winnie said this, Edwina Wilson said this, my God, what a man. I love that he stood up to be by your side to support you, versus leave you standing alone, which could have been much worse. Just like you just said, you were not alone. How during the time when it got to the worst point, during the time where you went through everything, how much of a sounding board was Brian for you?
Yeah, I mean, he was, but at the end of the day, I also probably need another space to process and stuff. And there was so much in the midst of that beginning part of the depression, I didn't even know, like in my own head, what was going on. There was so much confusion because depression can bring that. It can bring confusion and just the feeling of being lost. And sometimes you just can't express that in words.
Sure.
You just have to be present. And so there were times, we talked through things and he tried to understand, but he didn't push hard. He was just present. Now, there were times I remember the exact point where he's like, okay, I'm really going to challenge you to get to our doctor and just talk with him. And it took me a little bit to get there. Again, not that I was resistant to that, but I didn't have any hope.
You had to be in your own spot of where you were.
I had to be ready to step forward.
You said in the book, and let me, if I can quote it properly, no one can fight this battle for you. It is a battle that no one can fix it. It is a battle that you have to go through to realize where you are. Is that because you said you sat on that couch for 3 months. What was in that 3 months? Did every thought go through your head? Was it everywhere? I mean, or was it were you asking yourself how to fix it? Were there conversations with God going, help me, get me out of this? Did you have those moments?
I mean, I had my own negative and self-doubts, playing over those tape player that just it plays over and over in your head. But me and God had some round and round knockouts. Yeah, I was angry and I was mad at him and I let him know. But you know what, DJ? We have a big God who can handle our anger, who can handle the emotions. And so I'm like, God, where, and what I wanted to know is, where are the people? Send somebody, help me get out of this. And over and over and over again, until I realized that there was no human being that could come and fix this. That the only one who could fix it was God himself. And it wasn't even a fixing. I don't even like that word, because this is not something to be fixed from. This is something, that's why I talk about battling. To me, it's a journey. It is something that we journey through, and it takes time. And sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. And then you're like, oh my goodness, how did I thought I was making progress, so it's a journey through that place, but only you are the only one who can take those steps. Now, there can be people along the way who help you and give you encouragement and next steps, whether it's that counselor or the doctor or someone at your church or whatever, or a friend, whatever that looks like. But at the end of the day, that's they can't do it for you. That's why I called it daring to fight, because I dared to say enough. I'm not doing this anymore. The enemy is not going to win this one, and I'm going to do what it takes to fight. Now, if you've ever been in any kind of, and I know DJ, you've done martial arts and stuff, man, when you're working at like getting stronger and those things, and like I'm a runner, and so when I'm running races and stuff, it's not a cakewalk. You know, there are times you get halfway through the race and you're like, I am crazy. What in the world was I thinking about doing this? And you have to push through, you know?
This guy's standing over me. He's 6 foot. I'm 4 foot sitting in a chair. What in the world's going on? Woo! Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So you said something. I dared to say, this is enough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna. What was the this is enough point? Just to go into when you started you're on the couch and you're having the conversations and you're battling it out and you're getting angry, which is part of it. The emotional trauma that you go through in depression can swing from to boom. And I mean, it just, and in reading that book, there it was there. What was the enough is enough point? When did you realize I've got to get out of this? What do you know? Can you think of the point where you went, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it was, again, it's one of those things that it's individualized for everybody. But for me, it was after having laid on the couch for 3 months. And again, I feel like it was some of the Lord's prompting as I kept asking question after question. And then that moment of realization that nobody humanly was going to be able to fix this or solve this for me, that I was going to have to do it myself, meaning that with the Lord's help, I was going to have to figure out my next steps, because I had been looking for and reading through everything I could in that 3 months as well. So I've been spending a lot of time on a computer and looking for books, and I was reading all the clinical stuff, but nothing told me how to walk that out. You know, one side said, well, you need to do this and that, and then it'll be fine. But it wasn't, right? So I was like, I need to just take the first step. And that was the thing. We can't think of the whole journey at once. And so while my end goal, yes, obviously was to get into a healthier place, I just had to do that day. So what I knew is that I had to get off the couch, because I needed to, when we do that, when we get up, like if we're sitting at home on the couch and we're just really spinning with negative thinking and negative thoughts, sometimes the best thing to jar yourself out of that space is to literally get up and move to a new space. So for me, that was getting outside and walking around the field so that it changed my environment, right? So that for me was being able to, I loved walking around our fields. We had a small little farm there. Something that's super therapeutic to me is being in the garden and being outside. And so that's what I did. And I just focused on that one day. I didn't worry about the next day and the next day and the next day. I just took a walk around the field, and I could only go around one time. I was so exhausted.
You were so exhausted. Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
You know,
and so, sometimes it's got to be that one moment at a time.
Yeah.
You can't look, and I've said this 1,000 times, you can't look to step 67 when you're on step 2.
Yeah.
You've got to get through sometimes step by step by step. But one thing I want to point out that you said, and guys, listen to this because this is very important. When I realized that no one was going to come and fix it for me, when I realized that no one was going to come and get me out of it, it was me with the Lord's help. Acknowledgement of something is powerful.
It is.
When you get to the point, okay, this is where I am. This space has been negative. Let me move my rear end all the way over here, and just it changes the mindset, the attitude, the thought process. Sometimes even the air you breathe, it's different. It's cleaner.
Yeah.
For the positive impact for you, walking around that field the first time, what did it do?
I think it reaffirmed that I could take a first step, right? Mm-hmm. And that, I don't know, it just helped me become more determined for the next time and the next day after that as well. again, learning how to change environment. And it took me a while to figure that out. Like I didn't figure that out that first lap around the field, right? So it wasn't until later that I'm like, oh, I see why that worked, why that helped me. Right then it was just focusing on those steps but changing that environment. And sometimes, honestly, that environment we need to change is the people we're hanging around. Let me just say.
Woo! Look, you hit that one. I didn't even say nothing, and she went right there. I love this comment. We need people to stop running in times like such as yours. I have said, and I'm gonna bring this point out one more again, right here live on the Disability Global broadcast. Praise God, Miss Tori. Let me tell you. Sometimes the people in your life are like weeds, and they try to suck everything you got because they're not there to help you. They're there to bring you down, but you don't see it. Yeah. I've been there. The people you hang around, and I'll say this, the lady that I pulled up right here, there's a difference in a positive person and a negative person. Ms. Winnie will not let negativity in. She won't speak it, think it, talk about it, go around it, go near it. I had to learn in almost 5 years of knowing her now that I said, you can't be like that. She said, don't you give that enemy power. No. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I had to learn real quick. This lady ain't having that.
Yeah.
So not only did she maintain her spirit and her faith and her walk, but I went, you know what? Let me try this. And a year, 2 years, I'm like, don't speak that. Nope. I'm like, wait a minute, where have I heard that? it becomes, when you get the right people in there, God shows you this is where you're supposed to be. Don't go over here, although they may look attractive and look like what they do is they got the hand out because they want something. See, and it's self-gratification and all that other stuff I ain't even going into. That's another show. But I just, that is so powerful to realize the moment you realize it's me and God. I mean, that's the walk right there. And the fact that he was with you through all this stuff, whoo, that's you talk about, we have a big God that can handle our anger, handle our emotion, handle all this. And you're still moving forward. So you get off the couch, you go for your walk, you're so exhausted. Then what happens?
I just did that again the next day and the next day and the next day. And then it was, as I began to feel a little bit better, beginning to go, okay, what is the next healthy step that I can do for myself? And that was going to see my doctor. And that's where he prescribed me some medicine, but it was going to my doctor with a plan. Like, I don't want to be doing medicine forever. What is the plan? And for me, that plan, looks different than maybe somebody else, and stuff. So I never really talk a lot about that, only because I don't want people to go, oh, well, she was only doing that for that long, so therefore I shouldn't be. No, it needs to be per what works for you and what working out with your doctor and stuff. But it was that. I actually didn't go to a counselor for like 2 years. So that was a little ways down the road, mostly because I just wasn't ready to trust anybody. It took me a long time to trust. And I didn't want to get anybody weird. I mean, I was like, all I could think of was like laying on a couch, talking to an Einstein type of fellow, like with like writing notes about me. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So it took a little while for me to find the right person, and stuff. But it was working on all those things that I talk about in the book. It was working around my own thought processes, what I was saying to myself about myself, and those are important as well. Who I was, like you said, surrounding myself with. So, there is a season of time, like if you're really struggling, that it's okay to put up boundaries with people who are not healthy in your life. And a good gauge for that is, how do they make you feel when you're with them? Like, or even after you're with them? Do you leave feeling uplifted and encouraged? And if not, well, that might be a place you need to put a boundary. But I also will say this: you can't always just dismiss people from your life. You can't always just walk away, because sometimes they're related. And so, they're still present in your life, but it's also meaning bring around more people that are positive than the ones that are negative, and that it's okay to only share your story in that time with people you can trust, that can hold space for you, that have earned the right to hear your story. It's okay to hold on to that as you're processing and working through.
I'm so glad that you commented on this, because I want to go back, and I've heard people, I don't want to go to a counselor. I ain't telling that quack what I'm laying on. So I don't trust I don't trust anybody like that. That's powerful, because I told you this conversation was going to be real, and we hit another real point, and I've got to address this. Sometimes to get better, to realize where you are, you have to trust God. And trust is hard, because when you've been beaten down, and when you've been roughed up, and when you've been cut and bruised and battered, and everything in your life tells you, don't do this, you cannot trust this person. Counseling can be therapeutic. And I love right here, trust is the biggest part.
It is.
There are many people that feel counseling is not the answer, but it's okay. I have got to tell you, she went to it. She said, I don't want to lay on some couch talking to, can you tell me what the problem is? You don't want to go through that. But you got to find a counselor that you like. You ain't got to go with the first one. I mean, unless it's me. No, I say to people all the time, I would never be a counselor. But, I love helping people. Like you, I'm a helper, man. I can't seem to let someone be in a situation and just walk away from it. I'm like, dang, man, my legs don't work, but my wheels do. I got to get over there, But I get it. What steps did you take in finding the right counselor? Was the first one you went to the one you liked? Did you go to several? How did you kind of process that?
Yeah, well, so the way I found a counselor was, so let me say this about counseling. The thing I love about counseling, and maybe this helps with perspective a little bit, is the way I see counseling is that it's bringing somebody in from an outside perspective that didn't know all the people in my life and knew every story behind it. They had an outside perspective to give me a healthy look at myself and what I was processing. So by doing that, I didn't have to worry about whether they knew so-and-so or this person in my life or that person, or will they tell that person or anything like that, right? So it was somebody that just had a outside healthy perspective that could help me walk through some tough things and stuff. And so when I first looked for a counselor, believe it or not, I didn't want anybody in my area. I didn't want them to know the people that I knew. I didn't want them in my community, only because having been a pastor's wife and all the relationships that I had, I needed a place where I knew it was just safe, right?
Fresh.
So I actually Googled for a counselor in a specific area. And I was like, and the first time I Googled it, I didn't really come up with anything that I was like, oh, that resonates or whatever. So I went 2 more weeks, and 2 weeks later I Googled again, and I found a young lady that had a counseling practice about 45 minutes from me. And the one thing that I knew is that she was a graduate of Liberty University, and that's where I graduated from. And the only reason that was important to me was because I knew exactly what she had learned. I knew because I had been through some of the same classes and stuff. So it just gave me a comfort level that I didn't have with anybody else. So I landed up going with Lynn, and I landed up staying with her. And she has been, God used her in my life in such a powerful, powerful way. I would not be where I'm at without her counsel, without her direction. And to this day, I still go back and see her. Like, I was just there not too long ago because I just do check-ins. I'm doing great, feeling fine, but I like to do check-ins, and it's become a great friendship as well. But yeah, I love what you talked about. Is that if you go to a counselor and it's not a fit, it is okay and important for you to go to another counselor. But the only thing I would say about that is make sure you're moving because it's not a fit. Don't be moving because you get uncomfortable.
Oh, now, See, I knew we were gonna need 2 hours. Miss Winnie, can I get another hour? My boss up here. Can I get another hour, please? That's again. Miss Tori's got a bat in her hand. Okay, understand. I'm going to go on 2 points that she just said. You see what God did? She searched the first time, nothing. She didn't stop. She didn't stop. She waited for discernment or acknowledgement or confirmation or whatever. Did God come down and go, this is the one? No. It was, wait a minute. Liberty University, hold up. I graduated from there. I know what she learned. Click. 45 minutes away. Okay, it's not an hour, but I'll take that. That's powerful. And just to relate, I certainly understand that. Away from everyone due to the simple fact of trust. A counselor can tell you patient confidentiality is important. You sign this form, I ain't gonna say nothing. You go home talking to your wife every 15 minutes about what I done told you in counseling. I love the fact that you went and you said, God has used her in your life in so many ways. Mm-hmm. But the most important thing that I love right here, I'm doing great, I'm feeling fine, but I go for check-ins. Mm-hmm. How many times we go to the doctor a year? So many people go when they're sick. Mm-hmm. Do you go just to check in? Do you go just to get stuff done and make sure everything's okay? This right here is a lifelong process. When you've been depressed and you've gone through the almost said something I should stuff that you went through, it's a battle. It's a constant battle. So re-energizing yourself, there's the word I wanted. Thank you. To go back and say, I'm doing okay. This, and this. To be able to have that back and forth camaraderie where she ain't got to go to Brian. She could, but it ain't the same.
He prefers that I go to Lynn because it doesn't put him in a tough spot, because that puts him in a very dangerous place of, what if I don't like what he says or whatever, and then I'm mad at him, and then it affects our relationship. And so this, to me, is it just been a healthier way. But, you talk about trust. Trust is a two-way street. And I can tell you that some of the biggest battles that you will face in your depression journey is taking the next step. That's where the battle is. The battle is with yourself. So while I wanted to be able to trust the counselor, I had to take that step of, okay, I don't know if I can trust her, but I have to take a step forward and start testing that out and building that up. And like you said, what's really great now is that's been, I don't know, it's been almost 5 years, something like that. It's been a while that I've met with her. Is that because she knows my background now and I go in for checkups and stuff, she already knows my history. She already knows what we walked through and talked about. And so there's times where she's like, yeah, as you're talking about that, this seems to trigger a little bit. Let's talk about that. And then I'm like, man, Lynn, really? Do we have to go there? And I know that she has my best interest at heart. And from my experience, counselors have been great sources of places to trust. They really do hold that patient confidentiality piece very, very much, very strongly and stuff. And so, but it's all, like I said, it's okay to test out where you feel like you settle and feel best. But one of the things that about battling something is that you also have to be willing to lean into discomfort. You are going to get uncomfortable. It's going to hurt. It sometimes gets worse before it gets better. And the reason it does that is because when you start unearthing the things that are causing you pain, depending on how your depression, why you're in that place, you're going to start working at things that hurt. And just like when you go to the doctor and he's got to, you have an infection in there and he's got to clean out that wound, they've got to open it back up. That's painful. Cleaning it out is painful. But that's where the healing starts, is because you're starting to dig in. And so there were times I'd be in counseling and Lynn will be like, okay, you want to keep going? And I'm like, daggone it, you better believe it. This hurts like crazy, but I've got to get to the other side. And it was this dogged determination to just say, I'm not staying here. And there were days where I would go to counseling and I'd come home and Brian's like, he needed to give me space for sometimes days because I was just processing so much stuff. But leaning into, and this is why it's hard. This is why it's a fight. And why it's not just an automatic fix. It's people want to lead you to believe that, well, just do this or that, or believe this or believe that. And, it's a day. It's a lot. It's like I said, it's a holistic journey that you have to walk through.
Man. And the fact I've got two more questions for you. I wish I had about 45 more minutes, but I just to hear you talk about the cleaning of the wound. It's painful. I
Mm-hmm.
can, you know, I talk about Brian a lot because Brian has been my mentor. He's been my cell leader. He's been my friend. I can remember talking about just one small piece. We were talking about an ex, and I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. And I just sat there and I wouldn't say nothing, and he kept talking, and I'm like, Brian, I'm gonna snap, Brian, I'm gonna snap. And when I snapped, them waterworks came down and all the emotions came out. I was so tired. I
Mm-hmm.
fell asleep on the way home.
Yeah.
But you got to get to the infection.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get to what's bothering you. Counseling is not let's hide from it.
Mm-hmm.
Counseling is you got to deal with it. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't deal with it, it's going to sit there. And I think you being able to walk through things, you said, Lynn, really? Wow, do you have to? Why did you? And at that moment, you're like, okay, I know you got my best interest. It's like Brian and driving. When you move back down here, I had a job for you. Okay, Brian. Okay. All right. So then I got evaluated and I started driving and I started working on it. And that lady right there is part of it too. She said, all I want you to do is try. I got so frustrated. Man, I don't want to deal with this no more. But in the point of getting through that frustration and dealing, it opens that curtain and you're like, and to be able to breathe again and be free from it. This
Yeah.
is the Tori I remember. This is the Tori. I I'm just so to the younger. I got two questions left for you for the younger viewers, the 16, 15, 13. What do you recommend? I mean, aside from ordering your book, please. Um, what do you recommend for them? Just to what would you say the first step is? Maybe finding a counselor, or just coming to grips with what they're dealing with, or especially for the younger generation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all of those things. I think everybody, no matter their age at all, need to come to a willingness to say this may be what I'm dealing with, and I need to get some help with that. That there are safe people to talk to. One of the things that comes to mind is finding a mentor. I think about my daughters who in high school, having just graduated and stuff, that there were those teachers that they knew they could talk to. There were those adults that they knew were safe. And so I would encourage them to also find and reach out to that adult that is safe, or that person that's safe. Maybe it's somebody in their congregation or church that they attend or whatever. Mm-hmm. Counseling is part of that. Going to a doctor is part of that as well. And letting somebody in and not traveling that road alone. I would advise that to everybody, is that, you have to let somebody in at some point in order to, so you're not walking alone. Because one of the things about depression is that it is what it wants to do in the body, physically and just mentally. It wants to isolate you. It's trying to keep you safe, right? It's freaking out. It's like, oh my goodness. So it's wanting to keep you safe. So it isolates. And it wants, we just, that's why we want to curl up on the couch. That's why we want to stay in bed. That's why we just don't want to deal with the world, right? And so we just want to isolate. And so we have to fight against that isolation. And one of the best ways that I know to do that is that first hard step, because it's difficult, of fighting, of saying, I'm going to let somebody in. I'm going to take this. And maybe that first step for you is talking to that mentor, that person, and letting them in on what's happening with you and going on. And again, that first step of trust as well, to take that. And if they don't listen, then go to the next person. And I know that's hard, but it's finding that safe place to start that conversation.
Because I think they have to be willing to battle too. The person going through it, you can't make the person do something they don't want to do. In when you're working with it, you can try. I'm a tough nut to crack. But all again, Brian, your church members, your pastor, the people, trust. You got to trust somebody. You can't walk through the world alone and be isolated, because you're not alone. people go through life fighting battles. Life is a battle, but it's a journey. So well stated. Will you let us know where we can get your book so I can order like 10 more copies?
Absolutely. Well, you most certainly can actually find it on any platform, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any of the major booksellers. You can find it there. You also can find it on my website. It's just my name, victoriamenninger.com. And there I have links to other places you can find it. Like I said, those major booksellers. You can also order it from me directly. If you end up doing that and I see that come through, I'll sign it and send it to you as well. But you can order it straight through my website if you want. But yeah, anywhere books are sold, you can find it.
When you get a chance, if I'm not able to do it on live,
Sure.
but will you put the couple of the links in the Facebook there so that they can actually get to it? I love you so much. I'm so glad that we were able to have you on the show today. I just want to give you these next couple of minutes kind of for final thoughts. Would you just, anything that you have or that you want to share in these next couple of minutes to the people out there who are battling, what would you say to them? I know one of the statements would be, but I just want to give you these last couple of minutes to address our viewers and give you the floor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you'll probably know this one. So, I mean, letting people know you're not alone, and that it's depression is no respecter of person. Like we said earlier in the show, it's not. It affects every age and race and male, female, young and old. And so to know you're not alone, but I know you feel very much alone. Find that person that you can trust, that you can start letting in, and find out what that first step is for you. And just know that it is a battle, and it's not something, you're not going crazy. There's nothing wrong with you. Just these are all those lies that I believed about myself, right? But that the truth is that there is hope and there is a new day. And so just finding that support system around you that can help you through.
My boss is wonderful, and because she knows when someone has a great message. So she gave me a little bit more time, but I want to say, was it hard when you found your counselor you said, she makes you find a way to look at yourself and evaluate yourself. Do we not do that on purpose, do you think, from a psychological standpoint?
Because I think that, sorry, DJ, go ahead.
Because we don't want to deal with the real issue. We want to make it something else.
I don't know that we intentionally do that, but I think that we do that. I think that we shy away from pain. We want comfort. Mm-hmm. And so anything that's painful, we back off of, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's why I'm saying you have to be okay to lean into the discomfort of that. And where I had to, and I'll just use my own story, I had to be willing to own the pieces of my story that were mine to own, the places I had failed, that I had gotten wrong, that I had made mistakes, and I had to own those, right? We have to learn how to own the things that we can take responsibility for and work through those. Forgive ourselves. Give forgiveness to ourselves. That's important in order to get healing. But we also, and the other part of that is I think we're afraid to talk about the ways we've been hurt, the way other people have hurt us. We want to hold on to something. We want to hold that person responsible for what they did to us. And most certainly we have a right to do that, right? Like if someone has wounded us, we have the right to be angry and upset about that. But if we want true healing, we have to be willing to let that go and forgive. And that takes work. That takes leaning into discomfort and being super honest, because I do think we run away from honesty about ourselves because we're afraid of what we might find. But I can tell you, I was terrified of what I might find. What if all the things that I believe about myself are true? They weren't. But we are afraid of that. And so we run from what we are afraid might be true because we are our worst critic. I can tell you that. All the things that I would say about myself, I never in a million years would say that to my children or my husband or anybody that I knew. I would never be that mean and cruel. But yet I was doing that to myself. And so by sitting with a counselor, I was able to test those thoughts and those things I was thinking about myself and even the places I was wounded and hurt and go, is this reality? Is this real? And if it is, how do I walk through this and get healing on the other side? And if it's not, what is the truth? Replacing lies with truth is a powerful thing. This is what I'm saying about myself. Is it a lie? And okay, if it's a lie, then what is the truth? And when you begin to replace those things, your brain starts rewiring itself when you start rewiring out the negative things to the positive things. And so yeah, it's I think it's why people shy away from counseling. They're afraid of what they're going to find out about themselves
because of the hurt. And it's
Yeah.
they don't, I'm listening to this, and even right now, guys, if you're listening, go on Amazon and order this book. I mean, it really, it's a palate cleanser. It's an eye opener. It's a life changing event to realize people can tell you a million times you are not alone, but when you realize it, when you come to terms with it, when you're able to grab a hold of it and go, just to feel, I think that last question that she answered is from that inner struggle, that journey, those pieces of, am I this way? And you got to find out, because I love how she said, I would never say that to anybody, to my family or anybody, because I kept it in. I kept it buried deep where nobody could get to it. But then it's that cut off the bandage, ripping the bandage off the wound.
Yeah, it's getting that infection out. And if we don't get that infection out, that's where we just stay spiraling over and over. And it is a process. It takes time. We have to allow ourselves time. And sometimes that's hard because we don't always find the support system that we want. We are hopeful that people will come beside us and all of that, but they don't always. Sometimes they walk out of our lives because they can't handle it, or they don't know what to do, because it's not like we have a broken arm and bandaged and everyone go, oh, you broke your arm. They don't see it, but it doesn't change the fact that we got to keep going. We can either wallow and stay, or we can stand up and fight. And then we might land up on the couch the next day. Just so you know, you're going to land up on the couch the next day. Give yourself grace. Let yourself be okay in that moment. And then the next day, let's get back up and do it again. That's what I had to do. Believe me, there were times where I went completely backwards and I landed on that couch again. And I had to learn to give myself grace. And grace simply says that it's okay not to be okay. It is okay to need to fight a different day. And again, to reach out to that friend that says, today is a really crappy day. Could you just I just want to let you know that. Could you pray for me? And they do that because they just love you, right? They don't try to fix it, whatever. And the next day you try again, and that's important, to just keep getting up. And that's part of why I wrote the book too. It's not this, well, just say these verses or just say these things over and it'll be fine or whatever. No, I tried to give up, here's some practical things that you can do, but here's other ways that you can, work through your depression. Maybe here's some lies that you're believing. Here's some things that you can do to help you overcome even that part of it. And these are the things that I did. They may not all work for every single person. Like we said, everybody's individualized, but my hope is that some of that will be helpful in their journey.
I have heard Miss Winnie say 10,000 times, it's okay not to be okay, but you can't stay there. You cannot stay there. You got to move. Last question, I promise. When you are back on the healthy trail, when when you found the counselor that you want, or you're talking to somebody and starting to rip open and getting the healing and all of that, where do you stay healthy? What are some tips that you can give to stay on the right track and not to backslide? Because I know that with depression, the going backwards is that enemy will boom, 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 and just try to move you. What are some tips that you can give?
Yeah, so I love that question because for me, it's a continual process. I always have to be aware that I have that propensity towards depression. Again, everybody experiences depression differently. It happens in different ways. For me, I have some hereditary parts of my family that struggle with depression. And so I find that I could easily get back there. And so I do have to do things ongoing, stuff I talk about in the book. I still do those things. So whether I'm making sure I'm exercising, I'm watching what I'm eating, I am careful with what I allow in my head, the TV shows I'm watching, the music I'm listening to, the people I'm allowing to speak into my life. And I'm also being aware of what are some of my triggers, because I have triggers that will trigger me backwards. Ooh. And so I have to be aware what my triggers are. What mine are going to be different than, say, what yours are, DJ. Mm-hmm. And so if I know that, then I can be that quick and ready to go, okay, hold on. Let me make sure that I'm in a good, healthy place and dealing with that. And then, of course, going back and seeing Lynn, just touching base with her and doing those steps over and over again.
Well, we have talked a lot about mental health and keeping yourself healthy and the realization of it's okay not to be okay, and make sure to weed that garden. Just many things that Miss Victoria said. We're going to have her back for a part 3. I weren't going to do it because I don't want to keep, but I love having her. It's just so awesome.
Yeah, so, anytime you're ready.
We're going to put her book in the comments where you can get it, where you can find it. Reach out to her. She's a great friend to have, and I've known the Menninger family for a long time. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the show today. I want to thank Miss Victoria Menninger. Again, great author, great mom, great friend, great mentor. She's done it all. Daring to Fight, Amazon, basically anywhere books are sold. Find this thing. I do want to read this comment right here that Miss Winnie left. What's so very, very important in life is that we make sure we put ourselves first. Most people don't think so because they think family is first after you, because if you're not well, how are you going to take care of your family? Always remember, you matter.
Yes, absolutely.
And just think about this as I say this before I go. No problem is too small for God. No problem is too big for God. You have to address the small stuff first. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't take care of that stub toe or that infected toe and it falls off and you can't walk, no pun intended, what are you going to do? Don't let the problem get too big, but don't let somebody tell you, it's nothing, you'll be all right. Just shrug it off. You're a man. Men deal with depression too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be real about yourself. Be honest with yourself and be honest with the people around you, and it's okay to say no. We are live on the Disability Global Broadcast. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Catch us next Wednesday at 2 o'clock for episode 69 and Doing Fine when my CP does not define me, where I always say I'm D to the J with the roll away. And if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We will see you next week.
All right, everybody, that's going to do it for this week's episode of My CP Does Not Define Me. As always, you can catch us every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on the Disability Global Broadcast and Facebook Live. If you haven't already checked out our YouTube channel, My CP Does Not Define Me, we post all of the show videos in our My CP playlist. I'm your host, D to the J with the roll away. And if you can't be good, be bad, but be good at it. We'll see you next week.